Alright, so Final Spaces Season 3 finale. So, as ever, there's going to be major spoilers for this when I'm going to talk about this. So, yeah. So, right off the bat, I'm going to say Season 3's, the finale of this season. I would say the finale's biggest problem is needs more time syndrome. And it was something I feared that basically this episode is trying to do too much in one episode. To be honest, there's far too much happening in just this one episode. But I'll give you a rundown of the plot and then I'll talk about each thing about it. So, obviously, it picks off directly where the last episode left off. And yeah, this episode kind of made me think, oh yeah, Biscuit this season, one of the few new characters that was introduced this season was basically just either a load of exposition dumping or basically plot conveniences, which is what he is in this episode because he basically builds a shuttle for Gary and Avocado to basically go get back Little Cato, and also upgrades Hugh's body to basically be kind of like almost a mech suit. So, yeah, other than that, though, he doesn't have too much of a character to him. We don't really know much at all about him other than, he's good at technical stuff and that. But, yeah. Still, though, he wasn't as annoying as he was in his first couple of episodes, at least, he does actually have a purpose in this episode. And I actually rewatched all of season 1 before watching this episode. And I will say, season 3, I think season 3's biggest problem is it's got far too many characters. It has. I mean, season 3 mainly focused on probably around 3 to 4 characters at a time, whereas season 3 has got far too many characters, which means a lot of them get sidelined. For example, when Mooncake appeared, and Gary told him to basically fix the jump gate, I get completely forgotten that Mooncake existed in this season. Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like Mooncake hasn't really had much at all to do this season at all. But he does become important later on, so we'll save that for later. So thanks to basically Future Quinn or Nightfall's helmet containing the very thing they need to get the gate, working again, because of course it does, because Quinn knew, Nightfall Quinn knew about everything and blah 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 blah. So yeah, that was a nice little convenience. And the thing is, the moment kind of just comes out of nowhere. Like, literally, Sheila just hands Quinn Nightfall's helmet. And it's just like, okay. It's like, what? Number one, why wasn't this tried? Wasn't this tried beforehand? Why is this just something that just happens here and now? But okay. And also, Tribor shows up in this episode, so to open up the other side of the gate, which, yeah, you knew that was going to happen because he was one of the few people who actually made it through. And also it reminded me, oh yeah, Tribor's son was a thing. And completely pointless. Again, Tribor has one thing in this season, essentially, is to show up and essentially, be a Deus Ex Machina for the episode. That is basically his purpose this season. And his son, I don't know why they had him give birth, she give birth to a son. I honestly don't know why they gave him a son this season. I honestly don't know why. Because it kind of was completely pointless. In the end, it felt like maybe they were trying to build it up to something, but in the end it just came up to be completely pointless. But anyway, let's get to the good stuff. So, the confrontation between Ash, Little Cow, and Gary and Avocado, it is a really good thing where Avocado, finally does say face to face that, yeah, he killed his parents. We don't know if their relationship is ever fixed or not because, unfortunately, this episode has got far too many things to do, so unfortunately it can't, respite on this for more than 5 seconds. Which is also the most for me, the most disappointing part of the episode is the Lord Commander and his defeat. It comes far too bloody easily. Like, the Lord Commander literally, enters the picture and you think, oh yes, things are going to start going down. And no. Ash manages to break his fingers, and then the Invictus just locks him up in one of those hypercube things or whatever they are that Bolo was originally in, and that's it. That's the fate of the Lord Commander. So it's just like, that's a bit disappointing, because I was hoping we would get at least a bit of a fight between either Invictus or Invictus and the Lord Commander, or the Lord Commander and Ash, but no, there's none of that. He just shows up. Ash breaks his fingers. Invictus locks him up, and that's it. That's it for Lord Commander. So, yeah. Out of everything that's been building up the Lord Commander, that he'd been made a Titan, and in the previous episode, he was shown how basically he could kill other Titans with little effort, even when they were all coming at him at once, and then this is how you end it. I mean, obviously, there is the possibility that he could come back if we do get a fourth season, which at the minute, it's unknown whether we're going to get a fourth season or not, so it's kind of on the balance. I mean, if we're not, then it's a ballsy move, the way they end the episode, but, we're getting to that in a second, so yeah. The problem is there isn't enough time for anything to really sink in, because trying to just cram everything in. The bits that we do get are good, it just feels so rushed. I will also say, though, the animation in this episode is probably the best out of the entire season. The movement, I noticed, was a lot more fluid in this episode as well. So yeah, they definitely put the budget into this episode out of all the episodes in the season, which obviously, makes sense. But anyway, this is something that I wasn't expecting, and is also because he's being such an absence. Mooncake essentially, sacrifices himself, kind of. So Ash is basically pulling back the Galaxy 2 and stopping it from getting out of final space. Mooncake flies out, and for once, Mooncake is not powerful enough to stop Ash. And Ash even remarks, it's like, yeah, now I'm the powerful one. And this is also the point where Ash has basically gone completely insane. Yeah, she actually does start... I mean, she was going insane before, but now that basically since Gary and co was able to rescue little Kato, yeah, that was kind of her last, grip of sanity just completely gone, and now she has just gone completely batshit insane. And she uses Mooncake to basically free Invictus and allow him to escape final space. And we don't actually see Mooncake actually die, so again, possibilities, if they don't show it. But, there we go, and the season literally ends, as you can see here, with Invictus escaping final space, and we actually do get to see Invictus's true form. Which, yeah, because up until this point, he's either being just like glowing energy or a giant eyeball, like he is in this episode. But yeah, in this episode, we do get to, at the very, very end, we do get to see his true form. And that is how it ends. It ends with a cliffhanger. So again, if we don't get a season 4, this was a ballsy way to end things. Like, basically ending it with no hope. Basically, everything is just gone wrong, and Invictus is freed. So, yeah. Overall, I would say this is still a pretty good finale. The problem is that, again, it needs more. It has the needs more time syndrome, where basically there's far too much happening in this episode. There's far too many things it needed to deal with in just one episode. I think the little Kato, pet avocado killing little Kato's parents revelation with him, I think that should have been, done in episode 12 rather than leaving it right till the very, very end. I can understand why, for that dramatic impact, but it just means that there's just not enough time. 22 minutes is not enough time to do all these things in just one episode, which I think is just its biggest issue, is that, there's just not enough time. I think certain things out of this season could have been cut out. For example, the Kevins being able to destroy Titans sort of mini arc that they had. I think if you'd have cut that out, then you'd probably have time for it, because there's problem is a few episodes here and there just lead to absolutely nowhere, or they think they're going to lead to nowhere, and it's just to bring Gary and Cole down a level or two, basically, to make things seem even more hopeless. But it means that the finale, as a result, suffers because there isn't enough time to do anything. Also, my prediction of Ash's friend, that she meets the shapeshifter that she meets halfway through the season after Fox's death, doesn't appear in this episode. So, yeah, that was just a thing that happened and was never really explained. But oh well, there it is. So, yeah, I'm hoping this isn't the end for Final Space, because obviously it still has a lot of things that are unresolved. Also, the moment Gary and Cole leave Final Space, the Final Space sickness just vanishes. It just it does just evaporate and disappears, which is interesting. The way that happens, because I mean, it would be nice if there was basically a healing process from it, but no, it's just like as soon as you leave Final Space, that Final Space sickness, disease, whatever, no, it's just gone. It's just gone. But okay. So, yeah. But overall, I mean, what can I say about this episode? I mean, I will say this, it did the best in the time it had. Like, for this fight, if this is the final episode of Final Space, then it did the best it could in the short, in the very short time that it had. Now, hopefully we do get an announcement of a season 4. Normally, in previous years, generally the season renewal is announced, not long after the previous season's finale. It happened with season 1, it then happened with season 2, and obviously, it could be by the time this video goes out that we get the announcement that season 4 is confirmed. So hopefully it is. I mean, yeah. But anyway, that's been my thoughts for Final Space season 3. I might possibly do a video in the future giving a better look at a retrospective of all my thoughts. I'm hoping this gets a Blu-ray release. Warner Brothers did release seasons 1 and 2 on Blu-ray, so I'm hoping season 3 does get it. And also, please, if you do decide to do that, do a proper behind-the-scenes stuff, not these, very, very quick, brief synopsises on the episodes. I would like to see a bit more of an in-depth. But yeah, anyway, that's it for this video and this season of Final Space, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.